Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme. It looks as if the Celtic fans will be treated to Lionel Messi after all. He trained with Barcelona this morning and should be okay for Wednesday's Champions League match at Celtic Park. We'll look back over the weekend results in all four divisions of the SPFL, and we'll also look ahead to Hamilton against Hearts, all in the company of Alan Ruff and our boot-room guest Mark Guidi. Great to have you lads with us after a weekend of some very interesting football indeed. I think the big question is, can anybody stop Celtic domestically? I don't think that question will be raised when it comes to the Champions League in midweek, Ruffy. It's about whether Celtic can somehow learn from the 7-0 hiding they got from Barcelona.
Oh, I think he will. I think the manager and the players will have. You know, nobody likes to get beat 7-0. They'll go there, you know, they'll be organised. I think they'll be... he'll readdress, you know, the formation that he played. I thought he got it wrong the first time. I think they will play more European-style football, hitting the break, just sit in and just have to bide their time and whatever chances they get, whether it's free kicks or corners, which I think will be their best chance, they'll just wait until they come.
Yeah, I think Celtic fans actually probably want to see the world's greatest player there. I mean, Messi, Suarez, Neymar, they haven't had the best of starts. I think it's their worst start in La Liga for 13 years, but on the Champions League stage, they're a different proposition, Mark.
They are, Peter, and because of the result in the last round of games when they lost to Manchester City, there's a real edge to the group now in terms of first and second. So Barcelona certainly come here to try and win the game and to try and win it convincingly. It'll be a tall order for Celtic. If they can get something out of it, it would be a fantastic achievement. And if they could replicate the home performance against Manchester City, great tempo, scoring goals, defended well too, then they've got a chance. But as Ruffy said, some set pieces, if Sinclair's on form, if Roberts, Forrest, Scott Brown driving forward to help Dembele, then Celtic have certainly got a chance, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Messi himself, along with Suarez and Neymar, is a proposition that I think you know, Celtic will have to look out for. If anything, they could take a leaf out of Neil Lennon's book and try to thwart that threesome. But they play a different style from what has gone before. Yeah,
they're different now. You know, with all respect, if it's not as tippy-tappy as it was, they can be more direct. I think they're more dynamic than what they were 3 or 4 years ago in terms of up front, because I've now got Neymar and Suarez alongside Messi. So look, there's no doubt they're formidable. The three of them together could easily go to Celtic Park on Wednesday night and score 5, 6 or 7 again. You couldn't rule that out. However, if Celtic can just contain them and hit them in the break, force a couple of set pieces, then you know Celtic might get a bit of joy, but you would expect Barcelona to win the game. Yeah,
it's easy to write Celtic off. It's strangely enough, Ruffy, I did that against the Manchester City game, and they somehow surprised us. I think they're better now when you look at the progression since the 7-0 defeat. The Barcelona game was a harsh lesson. Then Manchester City, they improved. Then again Borussia Mönchengladbach came and gave them a lesson at Celtic Park, but Celtic again learned from that in Germany.
Yeah, I think you have to remember there's a lot of the guys in the Celtic team haven't been at this stage. You know, they haven't played against teams like Barcelona, Man City, so sometimes it takes you time just to bed in and believe in the confidence that you've got. And certainly Armstrong has had more games under his belt. Whether he plays or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I've always said it all along, we all know how great Barcelona are, but I always think if you can get at them, you know, in that last third, if you can get at them, I never think they're the greatest defenders in the world, but you have to get at them. You have to have the players in the midfield to make that telling pass, and we'll just have to wait and see if Celtic can do that.
OK, you can join us on Wednesday evening. We'll be at the Emirates Stadium looking over Celtic Park, giving you the big build-up for Celtic against Barcelona match day 5 in the Champions League. Join us if you can for that on Wednesday. Let's continue with the football from the weekend. Andy Halliday has said that Rangers can still catch Celtic. You know, we're looking now at a Celtic side that even if they get a win, a slender one at that, they're still winning it. I don't know who's going to stop them or slow them down, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, the difference of the two results at the weekend, Celtic won 1-0 very, very comfortably, and Rangers didn't. and they won 1-0, but they struggled to get there, and that just shows you the quality that Celtic's got. I think he's got to come out with that. He's got to, for the Rangers supporters, believe that something might happen, but I certainly can't see it. I can't see. I think the Celtic players are all thriving, and obviously the new manager, the style of play that they're playing, and they've got the confidence of all the wins behind them. They're not stuttering and stammering and dropping points, you know, and that's a big thing.
You can understand why Andy Halliday would say that. He's a guy who is brought up a Rangers fan, loves the club, wants to, you know, keep that sense that there is still a chance there. So I can fully understand that. And with Rangers' attitude, especially in the Dundee game, you know, they just kept battling away, despite the fact that I noticed so many fans had left. They thought it was going to be a draw.
Yeah, well, it was good for Rangers in terms of, as you say, Peter, they kept going. They got the goal in stoppage time from Harry Forrester, substitution made by Mark Warburton, so it keeps them hanging in there. But let's be honest, Celtic are going to win the league. There's then your other League of Three with Hearts, Aberdeen and Rangers, and then you've got your other 8 teams where it could go anyway. They're all kind of bunched together. So, no, I said in the programme 3-4 weeks ago, I think Celtic will win the league by a minimum 20 points. I stand by that. With all respect to Rangers and everybody else, they will not get near to Celtic this season. Brendan Rodgers has got Celtic playing well. His signings have been good, have been excellent in fact, and if need be in January, and I know it's what Brendan would like, you want to get players in, Peter, to give them 6 months to bed in ahead of the Champions League qualifiers rather than 6 weeks, rather than sign them in June. So if you can identify 1 or 2 there, the money's there to go and do that. So listen, if anything, at the moment the gap's only going to get bigger. Yeah,
Hogmanay will be a real test as far as Rangers coming up against Celtic at Ibrox, Ruffy. But I think the biggest test is coming up in the next few weeks, because you know it's Hearts and Aberdeen on the horizon. That's where I think the real test will come for Rangers.
Yeah, I think it's Hearts twice and Aberdeen, and throw in St Johnstone as well, and Inverness. You know, the teams, as Mark said, that are all up in the top half. You know, so it's not the bottom 6 they're going to be playing against. So they're all going to be tough games, and that's when the Rangers players will obviously have to step up to the mark. But as we all know in the Old Firm games, things can happen on the day, and that's what Rangers will be hoping that is going to happen. Because if Celtic turn up and play with the pace and the tempo they're playing at just now, I can't see Rangers living with them.
Yep, well, from Andy Halliday, he's not the only one suggesting that someone can stop Celtic. Kenny McLean doesn't believe they're unbeatable. Of course, the Aberdeen players have to believe that, because they've got the small matter of the Betfred League Cup final coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, and also last season Aberdeen managed to beat Celtic twice, both times at Pittodrie, albeit Celtic are now a different proposition under Brendan Rodgers than what they were last year under Ronnie Dyler. But certainly a one-off game at Hampden, a cup final. Aberdeen have got the quality to go and make a right good game of it. You definitely would not rule Aberdeen out in a cup final against Celtic. Derek McInnes will have them organised, he'll have them, they'll be disciplined, and they will be absolutely well up for it. You know that a lot of them will remember that feeling from 3 years ago when they won the League Cup, and they'll want to go and repeat it.
Yeah, I think they've got players. I mean, when you look at some of the teams, you have to have players that can make a difference. You know, and Johnny Hayes can make a difference, if anything. I mean, McLean chipped in with 2 goals at the weekend. I was impressed with him, because that could have been a slippery one for them at the Tulloch Stadium, as they found out to their cost last season, the Dons.
Yeah, well, I think the weekend's result gives them a boost. You know, I thought they were a wee bit, you know, off the pace a wee bit, you know, because obviously Rooney was out and McGinn was out, and they were. But that Stockley and Rooney up front with Hayes playing off him, and obviously McLean beginning to play well, looks good on paper. But how many times have they turned up and just not really turned up? You know, just never reached the potential that they've got. But as Mark says, they have got the potential to trouble.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, as far as the main shock of the weekend, Ruffy, was it St Johnstone against Ross County? If anything, if you were looking back at that video, I think Tommy Wright just sits everybody down and said, okay, let's just deal with cross balls.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have thought anybody could have taken 4 off them, particularly at home. You know, they're a right stuffy side, and they all fight to each other right to the end. So I think it'll be a surprise for everybody who turned up at that game at the weekend to see them losing 4 goals.
Yep, and the last one, just quickly on this one, I've always thought that Motherwell would be looking maybe top 6. They started to get a wee bit of momentum, and of course when you've got goal scorers who find the net, Moult and McDonald.
Yeah, a great partnership that Matt McGee's got there. They're starting to get clean sheets. as well. You throw young Chris Cadden into it, who's really good. You throw and Lionel Ainsworth, when he's on form, can add something to them as well. But Moulton McDonald will certainly help Motherwell pick up points.
Okay, join us after the break. We'll be talking about Hamilton against Heart of Midlothian. We'll also look at some of the results from the other 3 divisions and Scotland, look in greater detail at the Champions League matches over Tuesday and Wednesday. Might get a wee thought on, would you believe, tennis from Ruffy, as Andy Murray became the world's #1 player. Who'd have thought? Certainly Alan Ruff wouldn't have thought about it. We'll give you his thoughts coming up right after this short break. Join us if you can. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV. Monday, as ever, our Bootroom guest is Mark Guidi. One game that's going to take place tonight, and with a bit of luck, barring some mental traffic, I think I might make it to Hamilton against Hearts, just to get a wee insight into what Hearts have to offer in the flesh. The last time Hamilton Accies were playing in a midweek game, it was against Aberdeen. I thought I'll go and have a look at Aberdeen, and they get caught cold by the Accies, so I certainly can't rule that out tonight.
No, with Hamilton on their own pitch, Peter, on the AstroTurf, they're a tough side to beat. Martin Canning has got them well organised. They're now winning games at home, which was always a problem for them. And on a cold night tonight, if the Hearts boys aren't up for it, they'll get punished, because you can bet your last dollar that Hamilton will be right on it and willing to take the game to Hearts, and it's whether Hearts can cope with that. But we can't forget Hearts have got some quality players in their team. If they get going at the other end too and get some service to Tony Watt, and Tony Watt will score goals.
Yeah, Ruffy, it doesn't surprise many a Hamilton Accies fan. Every time I walk into that stand, they mention that's 3 or 4 years on the trot. You keep tipping Accies to get relegated, so and no change this year again. You think Accies are for the drop?
Yeah, but it's nothing to do with the style of play. It's the budget that they have, and we saw it last week. They have the least budget of everybody else in the league, and that's why I think they'll always struggle, and I think they will struggle again. They'll be down the bottom 4 for most of the season. But as both of you have touched on there, they fight right until the end, and anybody that goes to Hamilton Accies will know they're in a game. I think the problem for Hamilton Accies are they've not got a lot of goals in them. They don't have that striker that we see at other clubs who are getting goals. They don't generally score more than 1 goal, so that always puts you on a wee bit of back foot. If you get one, you're trying to be holding on to it, knowing you're not going to get that second one. But they've done it before, as you said, they did it against Aberdeen. And that's not to say they won't do it tonight. As Mark says, Hearts will have to be in top form. They haven't been firing on all cylinders either, so they need a performance.
Yeah, and just on that basis, Ruffy, are you viewing any of your decisions based on anybody's spend? I'm listening to you and picking up on your point there. Do you view it as because they've got the least amount of money to spend, that's why you're going for them to be relegated?
Yeah, I think so. I think when other teams in January comes, they will have more money to spend.
Yeah, okay. Just trying to get inside your logic there, since obviously various other clubs with vast amounts of money were all relegated in the last 3 or 4 years, and Hamilton Accies have still stayed up, Mark. You see what I do? I just chip away at them. Don't let them get away with it. And on that point, Massimo Donati, a number of the Accies players have mentioned, we've talked about just the youth that they always bring through, but I think Donati and the experienced players that they've got in there has helped enormously this year. I think it's a good change of tactic.
Yeah, I've watched Hamilton a few times this season, Peter, and he's brilliant because he's got the confidence and the ability to take the ball. If need be, he'll drop deep right in beside the central defenders as well and help them out. He'll pick a pass. He's chipped in with a goal or two. He's been a great signing for Hamilton. He's extended his contract, so he's clearly happy at the club. You throw that in with Dougie Imrie. You always know what you're getting from Dougie Imrie. He puts in a right good shift. Alex de Cole, I agree with Ruffy, not a bad striker, but I think Martin Canning, if he gets a chance, maybe look to strengthen a bit. And then Ali Crawford, can just always produce something spectacular out of nothing. And at the back, you've got young Mikey Devlin, the captain, who stepped up to the plate. And I think they've recovered well too from the loss of their goalkeeper, who picked up that injury earlier on, and I think he's been good. The boy was on loan from Norwich City, so yeah, they've recovered from that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was with Mikey Devlin at the weekend, Ruffy. I must have had a few jars too many. I kept calling him Nicky, and his mates absolutely loved the fact that I couldn't remember his name. So I'm offering him my 100% apologies, and I'm not going to have red wine again on a night out. Let's look at the results from the weekend in the Premiership to see how your team fared. Of course, Celtic got that 1-0 win against Kilmarnock on the Friday night. And as you can see, Hamilton against Hearts tonight. Here's how the table looks. At the moment, Celtic still out in front with a game in hand as well. So it'll be critical for Hearts if they can get a win tonight just to tuck in behind Rangers. And at the bottom end, well, it's all to play for. You could pick, Alan Archibald said to me, you could pick anyone from 5. I think you'd pick anyone from 6 or 7 who'll be looking at that and worrying about the bottom end of the table if you go on a run of 2 or 3 games without getting maximum points. Switch to the Championship. Neil Lennon, everything rosy in the garden for them. He was really waxing lyrical about the performance of his players in that 4-0 win over Queen of the South, Mark.
Yeah, a great victory for Neil Lennon and his players. You know, they had that little run, 2 or 3 games where they were dropping points, but it turned out to be a terrific weekend for them with winning 4-0 convincingly in front of their own supporters, and Dundee United dropping points down at Capel, which Jim Duffy, the manager of the month, has made it a real difficult venue to go to. So good weekend for Neil Lennon. Coming into that crucial period, Peter, you're getting into December and January, that kind of 6 weeks kind of determines how it's going to shape up, and at the moment Hibs are looking really good.
Yeah, and in contrast at the bottom end, it was one goal that decided it in Dunfermline's favour, Ruffy. Let's have a look at that table. Worrying times for Jack Ross and St Mirren.
Yeah, that's a big ask for him. It's nearly similar to when Alec Ray went in last year. They were struggling. Alec was able to get them on a wee run, you know, and take them up the table a wee bit. I think at 1 minute we thought we were questioning them top 4, but then they fizzled out. So I think it's the same kind of scenario here. I think it's up to the players to sort of get their act together. And as you said, they're a couple of wins and they're back in it, but nobody likes to be down with adrift in that division and what the consequences are of that for a club like St Mirren.
Yep, into League One, the results over the weekend for you. Airdrie defeating Alloa, Queen's Park, again another confidence boosting win for Gus, is determined to keep them in that division. But Peterhead, Ruffy, with that win at Livingston impressed me, because suddenly my tip to win that division is they're making a surge, Mark.
Yeah,
they're finally woken up.
There, yep, Jim McNally's getting them going, as you say. They'll be there or thereabouts coming into the season. There's no doubt. Airdrie going well under Mark Wilson, and delighted too for Gus McPherson. You know, Gus just keeps plodding away there, and with all respect to Queen's Park, you know, I hope that Gus gets another opportunity in full-time football, because he certainly deserves it.
Yep. Into League Two, here's how the results shaped up in a good win for Barry Ferguson's men. It was close, and in the end they just edged it in a 5-goal thriller against Berwick Rangers, and with Forfar slipping up, suddenly that division and the table is looking a little tighter and better at the top. If Barry Ferguson, Ruffy, can get them out of that division, I think a lot of people will be looking at them.
Yeah, it looked as if at the weekend for a while they were going to lose points again, you know, but they managed to come up with a winner. And again, Barry will want his team to keep going up the divisions. But you're right, that division more than anything else, it doesn't matter what year it is, it's the same, very tight right until the end.
Okay, a couple of points I want to talk to you boys about before we get to the end of the programme. Henrik Larsson, Jordan, his son, it wasn't a good experience for them, because obviously Helsingborg have been relegated, and I think the fans were venting their anger and had a charge at his son and eventually the manager. Worrying times for him there. Certainly nothing he's experienced before in his playing career or his management career.
No, you know, he's been in management now for 3 or 4 years, and it's not been anything like his playing career, Peter. But the good thing it seems to be about him is he's not a quitter. He's willing to get his hands dirty. He's willing to work at that level in the hope that it will lead to something bigger and better. You know, bearing in mind that the Celtic job could have been his 2 or 3 years ago if he wanted it. He chose not to take it. So it was a tough one from last night. They're relegated. his son Jordan scored the goal to give them the lead. It was a two-leg affair, and they lost 2 late goals to send them down. So, be interesting to see if he stays on, or what the board at the Helsingborgs decide to do.
Yeah, and one other little point, just briefly. Stoke City manager again, Mark Hughes, just entering the Charlie Adam debate. He should be back in the Scotland squad. Do you buy into that?
Well, it's certainly something that Gordon Strachan's got to review, because, Peter, if you look at the way it works out, Scotland in the last 3 major tournaments, 2012, 14 and 16, to finish runners up, the average points required is 20. So Scotland have got 18 to play for. They're on 4 just now, maximum 22. If Scotland lose in their next game in March, it's over. It's finished. So they can't afford to drop really any more points, and that's why he's got to be looking at Charlie Adam, Phil Bardsley, Ross McCormick, Jordan Rhodes, and any other guys, Matt Phillips, any other guys that are out there, because there can be no room for any more errors.
Yep, I don't see Charlie Adam coming back into that squad, Ruffy. Just a gut feeling. Just before we finish on this one, Ruffy, Andy Murray, got to ask you, he's Scottish, he's #1 in the world, he won the ATP, he beat Novak Djokovic. You didn't think he could do either of those things, and he's done it. He's surprised you, Ruffy.
Yes, he has, but it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful for the country. You know, somebody with determination like that, and enthusiasm, and he's a role model for every tennis player out there.
Yep, and I'm going to get your thoughts on this, Mark, in next week's show. I bet, Ruffy, Moussa Dembele will score 40 goals this season, and it's a big night out with wine and lots of great food. I wonder who's going to come out on top. Thanks to Mark Guidi, thanks to Ruffy, and thanks for watching us. Good night.